Okay. So if you sit over there and introduce yourself first of all, Alexandra.
Hello, I'm Alexandra and I'm doing the BTEC work skills course and performing arts course.
Thank you, Alexandra, and thank you for sending me your letter of application and also your CV, and you sent them in very much in good time. They were absolutely on time and you were very punctual, so that was great. I also saw that you were here very early. I was just finishing off the interview, but you were here, you were punctual, you were well groomed and you were well presented, so thank you for making that effort. That's a very positive start to the interview. First question is about why you've applied for this job. You obviously saw it in the newspaper. What made you think it was the right thing for you?
Well, I have wanted to go into a drama profession before, and I thought this would be an excellent way to further my experience and previous work, as the previous work I've done before has all been very, very amateur and only really within the school community or within a small club. This gives me a chance to branch out slightly more.
Okay. You mentioned your past experience in your letter, and you've touched on it there. Can you tell me a little bit more about the kind of things you've done, the kind of roles that you've taken, and what you've enjoyed?
I've taken both roles on stage and backstage. Before, a few years ago, I was doing mainly on stage roles in the country I lived in before, in an acting group, an amateur young acting group that went with the older group. And now I'm doing mainly the backstage things in this school, although I did do one on stage thing my first year here. Now I'm doing later things, I'm doing backstage things, I'm managing backstage crews and lighting and sound.
Okay. And of the two different roles, so kind of front of stage and back of stage, which have you got the most satisfaction from?
I've got the most satisfaction from the backstage work, as in my opinion it requires more thought. Okay. I'm not saying that actors are stupid, I'm just saying, or their work is thoughtless, as it isn't. I'm just saying that on the night it requires a lot of thought of thinking how to get around the actors and make sure there are no injuries on stage, and checking all the equipment safety as well as working.
Mm-hmm. So the technical aspects, the health and safety aspects.
And the satisfaction of getting it right and putting the things in the right place, and the actors coming in and moving around correctly and it looking good. Yeah. And looking natural, looking as if it wasn't in fact planned and organised and put together artificially. There is one play that I've never done, but my father has done, where it's half-half, where sometimes it's the front of stage and then the stage flips and it's the backstage.
Oh, right.
So it's supposed to look stage,
okay.
But at the same time not stage. Very interesting.
Okay, great. Let's talk, you talked about your experience a little bit. What about your qualifications? I know it's hard at this time, but talk to me about the qualifications, talk to me about the courses that you've done and how they support this, and the courses that you're doing now.
Well, as I said before, I'm currently doing performing arts BTEC, which isn't all about front of stage. We're doing some behind the stage things as well. We're only doing one unit at the moment behind the stage, but for assessment. But we're also doing backstage unassessed. For example, the one play that we're doing now, Chekhov's Three Sisters, we're each given an area to do backstage on, and I'm doing the lighting of the backstage for that. I did my GCSEs last year, and I got a B grade in the drama, including, and I got an A in the practical, which was practical and designing the ceremony lighting, and making sure everything fit together properly in the technical rehearsal.
Okay, that's lovely. And as a person, Alexandra, what kind of skills are you going to bring to our team? If people say, if your best friends were talking about you, how would they describe you?
They would say that I'm very good at taking a leading role, and I have a lot of creative ideas to put forth, but sometimes I can get a little bit over-enthusiastic about the ideas I want to put forth, and this will cause me to listen less to the people around me. I have been working on that a lot recently, and working on listening and working on using language that doesn't block people off. So I would bring that to the stage. I bring all of my previous experience of on stage and backstage, so I would know how not only the backstage works, but how the front of stage and how the actors will be at curtain after the curtains are closed, and they have to move around, being almost completely blind because of the lights.
Okay, all right. And in fact, the next question I was going to ask you was to reflect a little bit on either traits of your personality that would make this role challenging, or the role itself. But you've already reflected very maturely on that in terms of having the ideas and having the enthusiasm, but sometimes perhaps not being such an open listener as you could be, but already said that's something that you're working on. Let's think about this role, the kind of stagehand role. What aspects of that do you think you would find challenging?
I think the biggest one that I would find challenging is working with the team, because of my problems with teamwork. It would more likely be before the production itself, not during the production, when I'd know what I was doing with the group. It would be deciding how to move things on before the production itself.
Okay. So it's at that kind of planning and designing stage,
yes,
not at the implementation stage. Okay.
By then I would know what I would be doing, and I would do it and make sure I don't make any mistakes.
Okay. We're interviewing a number of people for this position. I think about 40 people responded to the advertisement. We're interviewing about 7 or 8 today, so congratulations first of all for getting to this stage. Why should I pick you? What makes you special?
I'm special because I've had experience in this for a very long time, not just for the few years I've been here or the few years before. I've been doing this since I was very, very, very small, and both of my parents have drama backgrounds and taught me this. So I've had the safety and how to move things and how to design things, not beaten, but put into me since I was very, very small. Even if I wasn't working on the stage, I would watch my parents working on the stage and pick up from them what I've now learned. I've been doing this, learning from not just them, but now entire groups, and doing it more, still amateur, but more professionally than just watching. I have been working with this, so this makes me a very good fit for the job, I think. No, because I'm knowing what I'm doing. I've done this before, and I would enjoy this. I know the play itself as well. I've seen it, I've read it, and I did a very small part of it once. Very, very small, not a big part, a very small extract backstage for it.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Very good answer. What about any questions from you now to me? Is there anything about the role that you'd like more details on,
yes,
or anything?
Please. I'd like to know. I know it's a general stagehand job, and I know what that would require. But what sort of stagehands? How many would there be, and how many hours would there be? And the work itself, are you doing it with lots of things that need moving on and off, or just a few things? How much?
We have a permanent team of professional stagehands who go with us from production to production. But in addition to that, we like to take on people like you, people who are younger, people who have an enthusiasm for the business, people for whom we can give an opportunity to develop some skills, and who also can give back to us as a company by bringing their ideas and their energy and their youthfulness. So we work with a permanent team of probably 4 stagehands, and we're looking to appoint 2 assistant stagehands, which would be the position. Most of the work is general stagehand work. It would be looking at and production work, so it'd be looking at sourcing props, possibly even helping with the making of props. It would be to do with the kind of planning you were talking about with the actors and directors, deciding where the props should be, what would be an appropriate position, how dominant or not dominant they should be in the scene, and then on the evenings and afternoon of the production, actually being the person who's responsible for moving things on and off. Because we also do see this as an opportunity for skilling people, you will also have the opportunity to work on either the sound or the lighting, again under the mentorship of a professional engineer, but working with them both in the design aspects and also in the production aspects on the evenings itself. So we see it as a great chance to kind of move around different parts of the theatre and see what it's like working with a professional theatre group.
Interesting.
Okay.
That sounds even better than I had hoped it would be. Sounds absolutely brilliant.
Good. Thank you for your time, Alexandra,
Thank you for your time.
we will be in contact with applicants by the end of the week. Okay, so thank you.
Yes.